Nationally recognized speaker, facilitator, and author Steve Klein sits down with the most fascinating difference makers in Dallas-Fort Worth. Hear from top CEOs, local entrepreneurs, and key playmakers in business right now with your host, Steve Klein.
T.S. Eliot said, "Only those who risk going too far can possibly find how far they can go." Hi, I'm Steve Klein, and welcome to Playmakers Talk Show. In the studio today are two guests who risk going too far. Our first playmaker believes the food service industry has been blurring for the past 10 years, while our second playmaker went from football to banking. With us today is the CEO of a company that is not a restaurant and is not a grocery store. Well, our next playmaker is the CEO of one of the newest and most profitable banks in Dallas. We're in store for an interesting segment. We're going to talk to Adam Romo. Adam is CEO of Eatzi. He joined Eatzi as its CEO in May of 2011 to lead the company's strategic expansion efforts. He previously served as a company's CFO from 1996 to 1999. A University of Texas alumnus, he began his career with KPMG, ultimately specializing in their retail practice group. Adam then spent 9 years with Brink International, which included Chili's and Maggiano's, and he was with them in a series of financial positions, ultimately as a CFO of Eatzi's Market and Bakery. He also did some interesting things in between, which we're going to talk about, as I found out before the show started. Adam, welcome to Playmakers Talk Show.
Hi, Steve. Glad to be here.
Glad you are here. You were gone for about 11 years in between when you were CFO and the CEO of Eatzi's. What brought you back to Eatzi's after an 11-year absence?
Well, I was at Eatzi's when we started the concept in '96, and we were blazing new trails with Eatzi's. That was back when the industry term for an Eatzi's was home meal replacement, and nobody was really doing home meal replacement. Although everybody in the industry, grocery stores, restaurants, we're all trying to figure out. People aren't wanting to; they're wanting a more convenient way to eat their dinner, eat their meals. So how do we deliver a more convenient meal solution? Well, Eatzi's was when we started that and Phil Romano developed it, it was very unique. There was nothing like it, and we really were blazing new trails. So we went through a lot of iterations. We grew the business. We had a hiccup in New York City with two locations that didn't work out, and so I left to go do the internet thing during the internet boom in Los Angeles and California. But through several ownership changes, Phil Romano bought the concept back and started expanding it again. So he had bought the Oaklawn location, opened a second location on Lover's Lane, and really felt that he had the business model perfected in a way. And then plus over that time frame, we really understood how the industry was evolving and how consumers were really using restaurants and grocery stores and fast casual type concepts. So when he decided to continue expanding it after those two stores, he said, "Hey, why don't you come back and join me? Let's expand this thing." And so for me, that was very exciting to kind of go back to your bring you back to your roots. So since that time, I came back. I joined Phil. We opened two more locations, one in Grapevine and then one in Plano. And all four stores are exceeding all of our expectations from a consumer standpoint, as well as from a financial performance standpoint. So that's what brought me back. And right now, I'm looking for more locations. We're going to continue looking in the Dallas-Fort Worth area until we feel we've kind of saturated that market. Once we've reached that point, then we'll look outside the area. Primarily, we'll start outside of Texas. And then once we saturate the Texas market, we'll look outside the state.
It's interesting. You really are the future. You're where everything's going. I was listening to a speaker this morning on a recording was talking about, he recorded this back in 1995, about how things had changed, how the Swiss owned the watch market, now the Japanese do, and how everything evolves. And I remember back 100 years ago when I was growing up, there were no C-stores. And I can't believe I lived without a convenience store. Convenience stores came, fast food started increasing, restaurants, theme restaurants like Fridays opened up. They started having to-go. You can go in there and you can do that. And you have an interesting brand position. I mentioned this at the top of the show about what you are not. You are not a restaurant. You are not a grocery store. Talk a little bit about your brand positioning, because you are really unique, and I see this expanding tremendously as people begin to understand who you are and what you do. So talk a little about that brand positioning.
Well, we really are unique, and the most difficult thing I find is trying to describe. It's kind of the elevator pitch. People ask you, what exactly is an Eatzi's? I've never been there. And we say, well, we're part restaurant, we're part grocery store. But the way I describe it is we're a prepared meal market. We're selling meals, not groceries, not grocery items. Although we do have some grocery items for convenience sake. 80% of what we sell is prepared foods. And everything we make is made from scratch on site every day. So you can find anything you could imagine, any genre of food, Asian, barbecue, comfort foods, Italian, steak, seafood. It's everything you could imagine. We have it, and we make it there fresh from scratch. The other 20% of what we sell is grocery type items that complement. It's our wine, it's beer. It's the chips and dips and things that we retail. We bring them in for convenience sake. So unlike a lot of people like to compare us to a Central Market or a Whole Foods, but they're primarily selling groceries, and their prepared meals are a very small part of what they do. We're the exact opposite. So like I said, 80% we're making the food, we're selling it, and we're merchandising it in a retail fashion, so it's prepared before you come in, and that drives that really kind of addresses the convenience factor, because people don't want to spend the time. You go to a restaurant, you got to wait to be seated. You're going to spend an hour by the time you order and get your food, eat it, finish it, leave. So you're looking at an hour and a half, 45-minute investment in your time. And today, people are wanting to satisfy their meal needs or their meal need in a much shorter period of time. But they also don't want to sacrifice quality. So they don't want to go to fast food. And that's why, really you look at it, we're taking market share from the fast foods and from the full service casual dining industry. Those segments are shrinking because, again, consumers they want food convenient, they want it fast, but it's got to be high quality. And so you're seeing this emergence of fast casual concepts like a Zoe's, like Panera's, those type of Chipotle. That's a great example of somebody who's filling that niche. It's fresh food. It's done very well, and it's merchandised in a convenient manner, retailed in a convenient manner, and that's what the consumer's looking for now today. And so, we're right. That's exactly what we do.
To get a good idea of, if you haven't been to Eatzi's, to get a good idea, go to Eatzi's.com. That's EATZIS.com. And on the homepage, you'll see an amazing opera flash mob. Opera being sung in the store, because you play opera loudly throughout the store because you're a little bit different. The average time a consumer spends in your store is about 10 minutes, with an average of about, you want them 7 to 14 times per week. You want them playing on a regular basis. So you're a little bit different. You're not like the Whole Foods or the Central Markets or the restaurants. But you have a core element you call QVCPT. Talk a little bit about that and how that really, as far as I'm concerned, is your elevator statement.
Well, it is, Steve, and these are our guiding principles. And we have 5 key critical branding elements, or core elements, as you said, that are really integral to making sure that we don't stray from what we're doing and we stay on point, and we really... And it guides us in everything we do. Every decision we make is based on the QVCPT. Q, quality. Consumers demand good quality food, high quality food. We prepare everything from scratch every day on site.
Now hold that for a second. One thing I did notice, and I know you want to talk about this is chef prepared food. This isn't a person that knows how to cook in a fast food. This is a trained chef that's making this food.
That's true. That's exactly right. We've got an executive chef in each store who guides a team of executive sous chefs who guide a team of chefs. So it's all chef-driven. These are people who are highly trained. They have culinary backgrounds.
They could be working at any fine restaurant in Dallas.
And they have. Our chefs have worked at the Mansion. They've worked at the Ritz. They've worked at the Crescent. I mean, they've worked at very high-end restaurants. So they really understand food. And so the food culture is part of the quality factor or quality attribute. And it starts there. So if you don't have the quality food, you lose that audience. Okay, so then it's variety, because we have so many people. The reason so many people will visit our stores as frequently as they do, I mean, up to 14 times a week is our half of our customers visit 14 times a week. Tell me somebody who goes to the same restaurant 14 times a week.
Eatzi now is their kitchen.
Right, that's exactly right. We are their kitchen. We're their pantry. We're their refrigerator. That's great. It's funny you say that, because that's what Phil Romano loves to say. We're their kitchen. And
when you walk into an Eatzi's, what are you walking through?
You're walking through the kitchen. So it validates, that's the theater part of our equation, is it validates, hey, everything is being prepared right here. You can see the chefs cooking the food. You can see the bakers baking the bread. We have a $100,000 bread oven that we import from France. I mean, and that's what it takes to make the quality of breads that we do make and bake. But again, the variety, we have over 1,600 SKUs at any point in time. And we're always rotating our menu. We're always adding new items. We'll drop items. We have seasonal menus. It's that variety that allows the people to come back as frequently as they do. You could have the best quality food in the world, but if your menu is limited, you're only going to come and eat there so often because you're going to get tired of it. And that's just human nature. So you've got the quality and you've got the variety. We've got that. Next is convenient. If you're not convenient, you're not going to get, no matter how good your food is or how much how much variety exists, they're not going to come. We learned that. Well, we already knew that, but an example of that is when we opened our Grapevine store. If you remember that highway project on 114, we opened right in the middle of that. Now, we knew it was going to be slow because that impeded convenience. People were avoiding that area because of the construction. It was heavy construction. So for a year, we knew it was going to be slow, but we knew that was an area we wanted to be in, and we knew that location was one that we wanted. Well, once the construction finished, we are up double digits comps. And again, it became convenient now to get to that location. So, and when we think of convenience, we're thinking about the number of parking spots. We're talking about the ingress and egress. We're talking about which corners, the northeast corner, the southwest corner. All those things are very important, and they're things that we think through very carefully before we select a location. So now we've hit three of them, right? Quality, variety, convenience, and then price value. It's got to be fairly priced. And, we price our foods for that, for the consumer to buy every day.
And the last one was a theater, and that's the fun they have when they go there.
Exactly.
Tell everybody where those locations are again and how they can get a hold of Eatzi's.
Well, we've got the Oaklawn Lemon location, which is the original location. We've got the Lovers Lane and Tollway. We've got Grapevine, which is at 114 and William D. Tate. And then our newest location is in Plano, and that's on the Tollway and Parker.
Adam, thank you very much for being a part of Playmakers Talk Show.
Well, thanks for having me. This was fun.
This has been a terrific show. Join us at PlaymakersTalkShow.com, where you can get all of our replays and past episodes. That's PlaymakersTalkShow.com. We're going to be back next week with more Playmakers. See you then.
Who will Steve be interviewing next? Find out on Playmakers Talk Show with Steve Klein every Friday afternoon at 3 on 770 KAAM. Hear this interview again by going to Steve's website, PlaymakersTalkShow.com.